Welcome everybody to an exclusive episode of The Sheriff. Guys, do I ever have a treat for you today? Now, ladies and gentlemen, on August the 6th, 2022, at the River Cree Resort and Casino in Enoch, Alberta, Ice Wars 2 was taking place. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I was honored enough to be like an honorary member of this event. And although I wish I had a bigger role, ladies and gentlemen, I am so thankful to have been at this event. And one reason is because of the chance to be with these characters that competed at Ice Wars 2. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my guest today, from the thankfulness of God, I was able to hang out with this guy for quite a long time. In fact, I think I spent the most time with this guy, other than Justin Bonesaw Sawyer, that was always on my side. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I got to introduce my guest right now because this intro might break a world record for intros. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I also have a guest surprise as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world, I would like to introduce to you my guest today, hailing from Strathmore, Alberta, at 5'11", 200 pounds. He is a cruiserweight. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy led all professional hockey fighters in majors last season. He has over 300 career fights. He is a pro bullfighter and hockey fighter. Ladies and gentlemen, he was victorious versus all three opponents in Ice Wars 2, which earned him the Cruiserweight King of the Rink. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Justin Schmit. How are you doing today, Justin?
Wow, what an intro, man. I think between you and Brady Leovold, the intros to your podcast, man, are unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, I appreciate that, but I have to put you on hold for 1 second because, Justin, one experience that I got was I got to meet one of your great buddies that's actually currently doing a documentary on you, my friend, on you. So what better of an opportunity would be to be by your side for the newest and most exciting combat sport event, Ice Wars 2. Now, you have this gentleman, like I said, by your side. Now, I was honored to have a few lunches, breakfasts. I think we had a couple dinners. We had a couple pops. We had some fun after the event. You know what I'm saying? And this guy was by your side. Now, he got some of the most incredible footage, Justin, and what you guys released today on social media. Now, I'm going to spoil the beans. I'm talking about Damen from PoorBoy. Now, Damen, I'm going to introduce you right now, okay? I want you to tell everybody what you're doing with Justin, everything about the company. And then, Justin, I'm going to get into that weekend right off the hop with both of you. We're going to talk about Ice Wars 2. Then, my friend, I would like to do a thing that's more personable with you. But, Damen, tell my viewers and audience who you are and what you're actually doing right now during the show.
Well, first of all, I got to say, I've never been called a special guest since my mom got pregnant with me 33 years ago, so I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
Currently, I'm in a grain cart and a tractor.
Yes.
And 4 combines are dumping their loads into me, and then I dump my load into a truck. Take it how you will. Just happy to be here, man. Appreciate the call and hooking this up. But as far as what me and Schmit are working on, it's basically just the story of his life. I mean, the guy lives, as you know, quite a life. Professional bullfighter, professional hockey player / fighter. Dabbled in the MMA, in the cages. And I mean, behind that, I mean, the struggles the guy's been through, just for him to be standing here, sitting, talking to us is actually kind of a fucking miracle. So I just wanted to capture all that. And then while we had that plan, we said, well, let's go to Ice Wars and see what we get. And it just turns out the son of a bitch won the thing.
Isn't it incredible though? Like I remember, and Justin, I want you to comment on this right now. I just remember the night after Justin won and just thinking like, bro, like I felt honored to be a part of this journey with Justin and yourself, right? And then, of course, you caught all that footage, and then the guy wins the thing, man. So I'm like, how awesome is this, right? Justin, you must have been pretty excited for it to be that successful and just to know that it was documented by such a talented buddy of yours. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, that was the cherry on top, Sheriff. Like I said, even when you and me were sitting there, like the three of us, or the four of us, I guess, left the after party, and like, you're like, man, is it sunk in yet? Is it sunk in yet? And I'm like,
has it sunk in yet?
Yeah, like it's pretty neat, and I've gotten so much, like, you know, like I said, I obviously got that BKFC contract now and stuff, and
congratulations.
Which is pretty cool, because I've always wanted to fight bare knuckles. Like, that's been a dream of mine, you know, because I fought Muay Thai, I boxed, I fought pro MMA, you know, pro boxer. So like, for me to be able to compete bare knuckles, which is like the purest form of combat, I think, like, there's nothing, you know what I mean? So for me to be given that opportunity is pretty neat, you know? So that's cool. And like I said, it was neat winning. It was really neat winning the, you know, being the first cruiserweight champ, but it had not, like, I was just the one in there competing. There were so many people behind me helping me. You know what I mean? So what it really, like, I got so fortunate I was so fortunate to get all the attention, but there were so many more people that had such a bigger role in putting it on, like yourself and AJ Galante and Damen Fraser, and, you know, all my coaches and sponsors and everything. I was just lucky to be the face of it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. And you know, Justin, just let me add to that a little bit. Like, I was talking to my mom right before the recording, because I was trying to explain to her, like, you two as a duo, like, how cool that is. And I was just saying, like, you know, Mom, one of the things I got to see is these competitors, they all have such a powerful camp behind them, such a powerful support system. And then, Mom, like, in Enoch, seeing like how they have the big support system, but then at the event, they have that one or two people that really have such a big role, right? And Damen, like, I just love seeing you by this guy's side, man. And you always had the camera out. I can't wait to see some of the footage of you that you got. This me and like Schmit shooting the shit, and like that, you know, that kind of footage. I saw you get that stuff too, man. Trust me, it's like I notice everything. So, dude, like, I if I was wearing a hat, I'd take it off to you guys, because like it's really cool to see that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you what, this system, it works, boys. So, Schmitty, you gotta let this guy ride this crest of the wave with you, man. And I know you want to, and I know he does. So you guys keep going this way, and I think you're unstoppable. Either one of you can comment on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Schmitty.
You go ahead, Fraser.
Oh, look how kind you guys are.
I was just gonna say how tough it was holding the camera, but also trying to be there for your friend, right?
Yeah.
It's something. Like, I had to cut out, I mean, I have hours and hours of footage that, I mean, you'll all see in the future in the documentary too. But I had to cut out a lot of me just screaming, you know?
Yeah.
And just like the camera shakes, like you get so into it. And then you look at Schmidt and he's just a rock. He's just solid. So you see that, then you kind of feed off that and it helps. But man, wild. Like Schmitty was saying earlier, when you come up after and said, has it sunk in yet? Well, it didn't. For me, it didn't really sink in until I started going through some of the videos and just watched how dominant he was. Like, he never fell behind, never got taken down. At worst, his helmet popped off. Like, he led the entire way.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. Yeah, it is amazing. Now, I just wanted to add to that, because there was one thing that you mentioned about, you know, you holding the camera and like it was hard for you because you wanted to be there for your buddy. Now, there was a time while we were there that you showed Schmitty like footage of what you had gotten of him. I think maybe doing his practice on the synthetic ice. I think it was Schmit. And then you were showing me on your phone. You're like, look at this, and I could see how amazed you were of Damon's work, and I was amazed as well, and it was incredible. But the reason why I'm bringing this up, you guys released, I think it was at least 2 videos today, this morning on social media. Correct, boys?
I put in segments the 3 fights on my Instagram in a row. I've slowly released them on Facebook, but now, they're all out now. All 3 fights are out now.
Now, that footage will be part of the documentary, right? Is that like a teaser? Because, dude, Schmitty, it's incredible. It's incredible, man. What did you think when you saw that? How professional it was, and it's you.
I knew Fraser's work. Like I said, we've been buddies for a long time, and so I was very familiar with his work. And then, we kind of came up with this. It was, right around the time, like last winter, when I was up in Danbury, and AJ and I started talking about Ice Wars and stuff. And then, I started talking to Fraser because everybody's always said, like, I don't think I'm that interesting, but a lot of people think I do enough dumb shit that it should be documented, right? Like the best jackass or something.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So then I was like, well, Fraser, like everybody talks, and a bunch of teammates of mine talk about, they haven't done enough documentaries of like guys in the minors, right? Like they had the Chiefs, and they had AJ's documentary there, the Crime and Penalties or whatever it was called. But
there's not much more.
But there should be, like, honestly, like there should be a day-to-day of like a minor, like not just a minor league tough guy, but like the way it is in the minors, because you spent a lot of time in the minors. I've spent my entire life in the minors. It's a life that you can't describe to anyone. You know what I mean?
And it's very intriguing to boot.
Totally, like just to be in these different cities, and like the life we live. Like we live like gypsies. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good way to explain it. I like that.
Like it's and it's something that like I was like, well, if there's anybody that's gonna do it, because I had different people approach me about potentially doing it. I'm like, there's the only person I want documenting my life is Damen Fraser. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, that's the only person that's gonna be able to take it and create what it is, and knows me, like from a farming background, and knows the rodeo life and knows all that. Some person, some Hollywood guy probably couldn't create it the way somebody that's lived the life I has. You know what I mean?
That's right. I absolutely, buddy. And I appreciate you sharing that. So now, boys, I'm going to switch it up a little bit right now, because like I said, I wanted to get into the Ice Wars right away, because it just happened. And we just so happened to have the Cruiserweight King of the Rink with us right now. So I want to go over the opponents. Okay. So now the first round opponent that you had, Jody Biederman. Now, Schmitty, did this kid ever look tough to you in the weigh-ins? He is an intimidating looking human being, in my opinion. What were your thoughts?
He looked, you know what, Sheriff, and as well as I do, it don't matter what you look like. The scariest guy in the world. Like, and I've been in enough fights that I try not to even, like, even at weigh-ins, I don't know if there's video of my, like, I try not to even pay attention to them. I'm just getting through what I got to with the press and stuff, and I just stare a hole through them. I pretend they don't exist, And wow. And I don't mean that, I don't mean that disrespectfully at all.
No, I know.
It's coming from like my boxing and MMA background, because if you look at a guy and like, holy fuck, that guy is scary looking, all of a sudden that carries over into your meal, the meal you have after weigh-ins, you're trying to recharge with food, and then you're like, holy shit, I got to fight this mutant. You know what I mean? So really, I stare as much of a hole through them as I can and try really not to pay any attention to them. But yeah,
Schmitty, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I noticed a different glow about you in those weigh-ins, man. So I know you must have been in that. So you just explained it. Now it makes sense because it was almost like you were tunnel visioned. You weren't even really acknowledging anybody, to be honest with you, bro. It looked like you were just like I know it's gonna sound weird, but in a fighter's la-la land.
Totally. And it's just, like you said, it's just because I'm so familiar with, in my whole career as an amateur boxer and then as a pro MMA fighter, as a pro boxer, I've been to so many weigh-ins and so many press conferences where I have been intimidated, and then it's ate into my brain, right? I've fought some scary dudes in my life. And, once I've talked to coaches and stuff, and it's like, just pretend they aren't there. Get through it, get through the press shit, get your weigh-ins, don't look at him because it's like in anything, even in business, if you're worried about what your opponent's going to do, you're already on the defense. 100%. That's true. If I'm worried about him or how he looks or what hand he puts up or the way he looks at me in weigh-ins, he's already in my head. So I'm cool. Like Chuck Liddell, Chuck Liddell, that's why they called him the Iceman, because he was stone cold all the time,
Okay. Yeah, no. And that's totally makes sense. Now, Damen, did you guys okay. So Schmitty, I should actually ask you this. Did you and Damen have fight plans for the fighters, or is his support more on a friendship documentary type level? Were you guys talking fights, or was it a friendship support?
Oh no, 100%. Because he was the one that was with me right through the last week leading up. So I said I didn't know the guys too well that I was going to be competing against. But we definitely discussed them. And he was actually even though he wasn't in my corner that night, because he was videoing and he was the guy that researched all the guys I was fighting and came up with a lot of plans. Right. And I was so lucky that night, actually, that Tim Kameli just happened that was there cornering Cowboy Swanson. So to have, to go from having Fraser doing all his due diligence with, video and stuff, and then telling me, giving me bits and pieces of my opponents, and then having Tim Kameli there to pick that apart. Tim Kameli is one of the greatest fighters of all time in Canada. And then I saw him. I hadn't seen him in 10 years. And I saw him at our pre-fight meeting, and I grabbed him and I'm like, "Hey bro, do you want to be my number one tonight?" And he's like, "Yeah." Whoa. So the whole thing worked out really good. And even having Dakota Mason there, who's definitely not a fighter.
Yeah.
But to have him there, who's one of the best hockey guys, one of the best hockey minds, because regardless of the fact that, it was a fight event, there still was a lot of hockey stuff involved, right? You had to skate.
Yep.
My entire training camp, Sheriff, was just power skate.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Just developing my skating.
And that would increase your cardio, your endurance as well.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially being on that synthetic ice, my edge control was so much better because I've been a shitty skater my whole life.
Fair enough. I mean, no, go ahead.
No, I wasn't. I've never signed a contract for my goal scoring ability or my skating ability.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
There's
a place for you.
But working on my edge control with my power skating instructor, and then getting on that synthetic ice where it dug, and having that edge control that I had was, I think was probably one of the deciding factors, especially as it went later and I was getting gassed out, and just being able to control my edges of my skates a little better than guys, perhaps. It was a huge advantage I had.
Well, sorry, Damen, go ahead. Go ahead, Damen.
The only reason he fucking won is because we shared a bed.
I think at one point there was like 5 of us in that bed. I know you were in there, Sheriff.
Things happen. They get wild in the River Cree. So all right. So now we did talk after the fight. And again, an event like this, Justin, every competitor has earned my respect just by showing up and stepping into the ice box, okay? So, like, everybody has my respect. Everybody is accepted. But there was one comment that I remember, and you said that Biederman may have been the hardest fight for you that night. Do you mind commenting on that?
He was like, that kid was just dirty, rotten, tough, man. Yeah. And I had no idea who he was. Like, you know, he was like the dark horse, and yeah. And you know, like I don't like to talk about myself too much, but I was probably the most well-known guy going in there into that.
I agree with that.
You know,
yeah.
So for this kid, like, to not be intimidated, it would be like me fighting you. You know, we never did get the opportunity to compete against each other in our career, but you know, you're one of the most well-known heavyweights of all time in the minor leagues, you know. So
I appreciate that, buddy.
It would weigh on my mind, you know, like if I was going into Rochester to play against you, and I know that we're gonna fight that night, that would be a huge.
Would you have said something to me in warm-up? Like let's just imagine, like, okay, so you got called up to Syracuse. I'm in Roch. It's in Syracuse. So what are you saying to me in warm-up, Schmit?
I'd probably, well, the thing of it is we'd probably know a lot of the same people. Yeah. And like
Derek Parker, for example.
Yeah, my best friend that he's the greatest friend I ever had, for sure.
So what would you say to me in warm-up, man? Why are you avoiding this question?
If I was, I don't know how I would approach it, because it's hypothetical, but I probably would have stretched, because I always stretch.
I always stretched right there too, bro. So we would have been right beside each other.
Right beside each other. I probably would have said, you know what, Sheriff, like, I've admired you a long time. I'd be honored to be able to compete. You know, if you get an opportunity to fight me tonight, you know, please give me that chance, you know.
That sounds like how Scott Parker, the original sheriff, who's giving me permission.
I know Scott. He was
giving me permission to carry it on. That sounds like how he asked Mr. Prober in his first NHL fight. That sounds 100%. like how, the way he did that.
Like, it's not just like, there's no disrespect. Like, the fight, like, you know, we've spent our career fighting. The fighters don't disrespect each other. It's when somebody does something fucking dumb, and then you got to go out and deal with it.
Yeah.
But if we're just going out to fight, it's just to change the momentum in the game for our team.
Yeah, you know, let the best man win and gain that momentum.
100%. So that's how I would have approached it, and that's how I've approached a lot of fights in my career. You know, like, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm just trying to give my team momentum. You know, so that if you were in Rochester and I was in Syracuse, I would just said, Sheriff, I'd love the opportunity to fight you tonight. You know.
And you know what? I would have loved it so much that we probably would have just got it over with, like in the first couple minutes of the game.
Right away.
You know what I mean? And it would have been buckets off. It would have been center ice. It would have been a lot of respect. Maybe we would have even shook hands before we squared off. Who knows?
Heck yeah. Yeah.
Right.
100%, man. I and that's what I love. Like, even the fights I've had this year with, you know, Nick Williams and Joe Pace, you know, we've had some battles, but it's always been, you know, like, it's always been a great time. And even, you know, like, I'm heading back down south right away here, and Pacers, like, in Biloxi this year, we play them 13 times, I think, in the regular season, and I think we have 4 against them in preseason.
Jeez.
So and Pacer, so guaranteed at some point or another, Pacer and I are probably gonna have a scrap, because our fights have been world famous.
So good.
And Pacer was like, man, like, you got to come stay at my house in Biloxi. You know what I mean? Like, you got to stay with me before the season starts.
That's so awesome, bro. So, okay. So listen, so I'm going to get into, I wanted to get into the majors thing, but let's stick with these opponents. Now, your round 2 opponent was actually a guy that I wasn't sure who was on what side, but my picks was this guy against you in the finals, because this guy dropped 40 pounds to qualify for the weight, right? We're talking about just the smoke, right?
Yeah. He was, so I didn't see his fight, but like I was gassed out for my first fight. And I'm like laying in my dressing room on the floor. And then I find out that he had like a 9-second walk-off knockout.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, this kid's fresh. And then it was me and Amesbury had the same locker room.
Okay.
Like we just took that green room, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we were sitting in there and he goes, man, like this is probably the title fight tonight. You know what I mean? Like this, whoever wins this fight is probably gonna win the crown.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, this kid's big. And he's got a monster fucking left hand.
Yeah, bro. Southpaw, big time.
Oh, man. So I was, like I said, I was sitting in my room and I was just talking with Kameli. And I just, you know, like I've fought enough Southpaws in my career in boxing that I know how to get in with my shoulder pretty good against a Southpaw. So we squared off, and obviously he was left-handed. And we, you know, maybe he was a little bit nervous of my power too, because he kept me in pretty tight, which was surprising, because I was like, fuck, if this kid strings me out with that fucking big left, like it's gonna be over in a hurry. You know that feeling when you're strung out and you know you're gonna get fucking cracked, hoping that your lights don't go out, you know what I mean? And so I'm like, yeah, just shit, here it comes.
There's a lot of action shots where they have us like that, because they'll be like, right, like in the exchange, right? One of those.
So with him, I think it might have been a little bit of a fuck up on his part, or like a little bit of inexperience on his part, because he probably was a little bit nervous of me, so he tried to pull me in tight.
Yeah.
But like I said, he was longer and he was stronger and he was more powerful than me. I obviously have a lot more experience and, you know, can work my way through things like that. But I know he was gassing. It was funny. And I like the kid. He's awesome. But he was gassing out at the end of the second, right? And then like he pulled me in and he's like, Schmitty, I'm fucking gassed, man. And I'm like, just hang with me. We got 30 more seconds. We're okay. Let's just hang out here. And then, you know what I mean? Like, we're going. And then it was such a close fight. I went over to his corner and I'm like, hey, get your shit together, because we're probably going fucking round 3. And then I looked at Marasti, and Marasti was like, because I didn't want to take my helmet off, and Marasti goes, no, it's done. And I honestly didn't. That fight was so close, I didn't know which way it could have went, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like I said, I was intrigued. Intrigued's not the right word. I was very impressed with how Justice was able to drop that weight in that amount of time. Okay, because it's not a lot. That's not a lot of time to drop 40 pounds, is it, Schmidt?
No, definitely not.
Right. So
I've cut weight lots in my career, but to go 40 pounds, it meant he was focused on his cardio 100%. Like cardio was.
Oh yeah. Yeah, buddy. And as you guys saw in Ice Wars 1 with Amesbury, cardio was the biggest reason why Amesbury was the first king of the ring, right?
Oh, cardio is everything. Like in an MMA, in any combat sport, MMA, boxing, Ice Wars, jiu-jitsu, BKFC, whatever it is, cardio is the deciding factor, 110%.
Dude, I'm very entertained right now, because I'm hearing these fighting stories from the king of the ring, Cruiserweight king of the rink, and then I look at my other screen and I'm getting this incredible footage of the combine, right? And listen, Smitty, I've done this before, man. And I was with a girl that had a farm just in the outskirts of Rochester, right? Honey Eye Falls. And they were wheat, hay, and corn fields at farming. So I have thrown those bales. I've kept up with the truck and grabbed the bales, drew the bale. It was the first time I worked with her dad and her mom, and I wanted to impress them so much, Schmitty, that I was a hard worker, and you know what I mean. Like,
oh, I know. Trust me, I know that better than anyone, especially. That's right now my situation.
Right? Yeah, buddy. So I think it's just fitting though that we're getting to see this incredible farming stuff, and then we're talking to the bull. Right? Because you're a country boy, right? Schmitty, we had this talk. Yeah. You don't even understand city people sometimes, right?
I don't just because I like I said, I live in, well, I'm fortunate now. I live in Phoenix City, Alabama. So I mean, it's country, but like I started my career in Elmira, and like to not know my neighbors and to like go out and like to go to the grocery store and not run into 14 people I know is like, it was weird to me. So that's why you see like when you see country people or farm people and they're in the city, they're saying hi to everyone, right? Because they're like, well, that's how it. Like, if I don't know that face, they're probably new in town, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, Damon. Okay, so listen, before we move on to the finals here, because at the Sharp Podcast we do have a YouTube channel. So boys, like I appreciate how good looking both of you are because we do have the YouTube channel, right? So it helps my ratings. But now listen, I need to talk about your guys' appearance a little bit here because his nibs over here, the king of the rink, you just completed a tattoo, did you? How come you're hiding it right now, Schmitty? Take off the hoodie, bro. Take off the hoodie. I know we're representing ICEWARS. We'll put it back on. Look at this guy. Take off the hoodie, Schmitty. Now the ratings have just skyrocketed now. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about it, bro.
No, my neck sleeve, obviously, actually most of my tattoos are all religious tattoos, but my neck sleeve, I always wanted a neck sleeve, right? Because you never see anybody with a neck sleeve. You see guys with sleeves all the time. Fraser's got a sleeve. Everybody's got a sleeve, but to have a full neck sleeve right up to my chin, I've always thought was like so unique and so cool. And I don't know if you remember David Massey played for.
Yeah, buddy. I played with Massey in Quebec, bro.
Yeah. So I remember playing against him in the Central League, and he had his fucking full neck sleeve.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that guy's the coolest guy in the whole world. I think that's the coolest tattoo you can get. Oh.
I have to admit, it's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's different. It's
really cool, dude. Right? Who did it, Schmitty?
Dave Cross at Ella.
You got it done where? Where'd you get it done? What city?
In Strathmore.
Okay, from Strathmore, Alberta. Right on.
Yeah,
right on.
Dave Cross. He's been my guy throughout the whole. Like I've had a few my back, a couple pieces on my back that somebody else did, but Dave's done the majority of my work, and he'll, like I said, eventually my goal is to be done from eyebrows to ankles. Like I want to be covered.
You want to be completely covered?
Completely covered, yeah. So Dave's been my guy for a long time, and he'll be my guy, you know, as long as I can, right?
There's a guy that used to play in the NBA. They called him the Birdman. Do you know who I'm talking about? White guy.
I do. He was all inked up too.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up. He was tatted everywhere.
Yeah,
the Birdman. Serious guy. Played with LeBron.
Yeah,
good guy. Yeah. So now listen, Damon. I need to talk to you. Look at this guy. This guy's like, oh, I'm back on. While he's combining, ladies and gentlemen, this is incredible. So now, Damon, I got to talk about your stash here that we're looking at, buddy, because as Schmitty can agree, Schmitty, he's got to have the coolest stash right now, eh? Like, including TV, everything.
Yeah, right? Like it looks like a set of horns coming out of his lip.
It looks
back
like,
into that, eh?
It looks like He's a professional guy in disguise.
He looks like a spy. A spy.
A spy, right? And he's the guy in the bar where you're not sure about him, man. I'm like, hey, Schmitty, look at that guy down there, bro. What's he doing here? Is that your agent?
That mustache is unbelievable.
Right?
Hey?
That's what I would have said. I go, there he is. That's your agent, buddy. That's what I would have said to you. If I was like, hey, this guy's in disguise. Okay, so listen, Damon, all jokes aside, I was saying in the beginning that you acquired some mustache and hair product stuff. Can you just explain that real quick?
Yeah. Sorry, Smitty, in advance. So Smitty was in a freestyle bullfight just west of Edmonton, or actually a week before our Ice Wars. So I went up there with him, busting down some bullets. It was raining, it was shitty. There was lightning like you've never seen before. Almost got hit, whatever. It was quite the time. But end of the night, this guy comes over to me who had himself a pretty damn good mustache. And he goes, hey, you won. I said, well, what do you mean I won? Like, I wasn't even entered. I'm here to film Schmitty. He goes, you won. Here's the box. What the fuck? So I open it up. There's mustache wax and combs and a gift certificate for a whole bunch of mustache shit. And at the time, I was just using hairspray, which is pretty terrible when you're breathing that shit in all day. You get a little bit, glued up. But so I've been using it ever since.
Lick
That
it
shit
by
holds pretty
accident?
good.
You ever lick it by accident? Like,
Hold on. How's it look though? Like out of 10 today?
Honestly, buddy, it's pretty close to a 10, Schmitty. What do you think, buddy?
It's like a 6.5.
It's pretty symmetrical, bro. No.
It's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah,
like,
it's a rad mustache.
So, okay, the finals was a local kid, Bo Cornell, right? Now, this guy was in Ice Wars 1. I had him on my show. Great kid, incredible family.
Yeah.
His dad's a big character, his brothers. He's got a really big support system behind him. Didn't do so well in the first one, but man, was he a different animal in Ice Wars 2. Schmitty, what's your comments on that? Because I know that you watched the first one and you've seen him and the loose cannon.
Yeah, like I said, Travis Czech was in my locker room too, and he broke his hand.
Yeah.
In the quarters, and I was like, man, like, live to fight another day. Like at first, because I was in his locker room, and I was like, man, like, get your shit together. You got to go and win another fight, and then we're gonna probably see each other in the finals. So figure your shit out. You know what I mean? And then he's like, man, I fucking can't. Like, my hand's fucked. And then, AJ came in and kind of talked him down. And then I was like, well, you're probably right. So then I go to AJ. I'm laying on the floor, right? Like, from my second fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's the deal? Like, I got to fight a guy that's fought once. I've just had 2 fucking marathons. The guy I fought was the first fight of the night, the very first fight of the night. I've just had 2 complete marathons. Like I got Dakota Mason and Gio Flaminio rubbing my arms down because I can't even lift them. And I'm like, this guy fought 2 hours ago. He's fucking fresh. But I mean, it's like AJ's like, well, it is what it is, man. Like, and I'm like, okay, well, Cowboys ride, right? Like, I'm not gonna fucking saddle up, right? So I knew that he was fucking fresh. I knew he was real fresh. And we went into the finals, and I was gassed. And I got to send an apology out to Lindsay Baldwin because you weren't in the back. I have to because she that woman put in more. She was the fucking backbone of the whole operation. The whole
unsung hero for sure.
100%, right? So she's in the back, and I'm laying there with all my shit off, like, cause I'm like, I'm fucking gassed, And she goes, Schmitty, you got fucking 1 minute, man. Like, your walkout music's coming on. And I was like, what the fuck, Linz? Like, I didn't mean to lose it on her. And she's like, I'm like, you got to give me at least 3 minutes. And she's like, Schmitty, you don't got 3 minutes. And I'm like, well, Linz, what do you want me to do? Fight my gitch? Like, there's no two ways about this. I got to have some time. So I gave her like really bad shit. And that woman went out and fucking stalled for me for probably 5 minutes so I could get my life together before the final, because I didn't have any of my equipment on. I didn't know that that the final fight was coming up. So I cussed her out pretty bad, and I felt really bad, you know what I mean? Because all week all she did was cater to all of us, make sure everybody's life was perfect. You know what I mean?
She does a great job. Really good job.
Everything that woman does, I think she'll be successful at, because she's that type of person. You know what I mean? She gives off that type of energy. But yeah, so I give her fucking shit right before my final fight, and I have a chew in my mouth, right? And I'm like putting my shit on, walking. I'm fucking pissed off at her, and I'm pissed off, trying to spit the chew out of my mouth on the way to the fight. This kid's fresh, and but when I went in against him, like I said, Tim Camelli was in my corner, and we saw a couple holes like right off the bat that he had. Obviously, I'm not gonna say, because chances are I'll probably have to fight him again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
But there was a couple, like, not to say that he's not a great athlete or a great fighter, but there were some holes that we were able to really open up really fast.
Yep.
And then, you know, I did, you know, pretty significant damage on him very early. And it was, you know, the fight just really, after seeing, you know, that one little glitch in his game and being able to expose it, you know, the momentum just swung towards me. And like, I mean, I think my most dominant fight was probably the final fight. You know what I mean? So
I agree.
So like I said, I don't want to undermine him, because I know he's a great fighter and a great athlete. But we saw that one thing and we exposed the shit out of it, and I was able. It was, you know, I was able to kind of you know, exploit that weakness in him, right?
Yes, for sure. And like, just to add to that, I mean, I agree with everything you said. But like, I mean, we have an incredible amount of respect for Bo Cornell, his family, his camp, you know, and like, I mean, Schmitty, I'm telling you, man, like, I know you watched the first one, but like, I hosted the first one. I saw this kid prepare for it. I seen him right in person. He was a completely different animal in Ice Wars 2. This kid trained and got a lot better, and I only expect him to keep rising. So you're absolutely right. You will run into him in the future.
Totally. And like I said, I like Bo, and he's a great guy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, because I know he's going to watch.
Yeah, no, you're not going to tell him what you know.
His camp's going to watch this. It's like on that show with Matt Damon when he's the poker player. If you see guys tell, you don't let him know you see it, right?
Exactly.
And it is a chess match or a poker game, right? So I hope for Bo's sake he closes that little hole in that game up. But I mean, I hope for my sake he doesn't.
There you go. Okay, so boys, this is the question that I know a lot of viewers and listeners like that they want me to ask. Now, once your hand was raised, right? What, like, that must have been like, I mean, now let me back up a little bit, because I know that there's listeners and viewers that are still learning about Ice Wars. And now, Schmitty, because you're the Cruiserweight King of the Rink, like, you're one of the faces of this company. Like, you and Amesbury, like, you guys are the faces of the company. You're the two first King of the Rinks, right? So, sorry, go ahead. Oh, maybe that was just a sound in the background. I thought Damon was going to say something there.
So that's probably just the radio. Sorry, boys.
No, it's all good, Damon. Damon, you're it's entertaining enough with the shades and the stash, bro. Don't worry, bro. So now, for the audience and listeners, Ice Wars 2, the event, the 8-man tournament that Schmitty won here. So this is the newest and most exciting combat sport, ladies and gentlemen. So what we've done is we've taken an age-old part of the game that everybody loves, and we've made it the main event. When you go to a hockey game and you're there with your buddies, and you guys just want to see a tilt, right? So, you know, it's the first period. Maybe there's a scrum in front of the net, and you're like, hey, man, it might happen right now. And, oh, it's not happening. And then later in that first period, there's a big hit. And the fourth liners are out there. You're like, oh, no, they're gonna retaliate. It might happen right now. Oh, it didn't happen. Ladies and gentlemen, ICEWARS, you don't have to wait. We're doing this. We're throwing it down right away. It's so exciting. And Schmitty, how does it feel to be a part of that?
16 times a night.
16 times a night. There you go. But
unbelievable. And every fight was exciting.
Yes, it was. It was really good cards. And really good.
It was exciting. Like you go to a hockey game and, you know, there's not that, like, you know, there's definitely not going to be 2 great fights in one night. There's probably not going to be 16 great fights in one season at this point. And
oh yeah,
you know,
bro, I know, eh?
People can come on board and see 16 highlight reel fights in one night. It's better than MMA. Even MMA, there can be shitty fights where guys are just, you know, like pulling the fucking shoot. Whereas this, it's 2 1-minute rounds, so you got no choice but to compete, right?
Yeah, bro. Now, who was your fight of the night? From what you saw, like from what you were able to see.
Shoot, definitely the main event. Oh,
the main event.
Oh, Cowboy and
was.
Yeah.
You know who my most entertaining fight, which I'd say the fight of the night, was Roach against the Beast.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
You didn't see that? Okay, you didn't see that, dude. I'm telling you, Damon. Were you able to see it or no?
Yeah, I caught the first round. It was something, man. It was heavy.
And those are both 2 Quebec League heavyweights, right? Did you fight? Yeah. You fought both those guys probably in your career?
You know what? I haven't, because Roach. I don't know how me and him didn't hook up, because he was in the Quebec League before I got there, and then he kind of like shut her down when I got back. So you know what I mean? But yeah, dude, I mean, what I was most impressed about was, Damon, I don't know if you heard this, but his intro music, Jordan Roach's intro song, it was an indigenous drum beat. And bro, when I heard that beat, bro, I got a sponsored suit for ICEWARS too. I was very proud of my suit, but I felt like ripping my suit off, putting it on and saying, you know what? This drum beat, I gotta do the spin of the helmet on the ice and go, because it was unreal. Eamon, did you notice it or no?
Yeah, actually, like I was saying, like it chilled me up the spine.
Yeah. And you know what? I told Roach this, and I go, dude, can you send me that? And he sent me like a bunch of links to like, I think that indigenous band, but I didn't hear what I heard that night, bro. If you find it, please send it to me, because that beat, Schmitty,
my first thought when I heard it was, man, I'd like to make a video for him with this in it.
Yeah, dude. Oh. Schmitty, you got to hear this beat, bro. It's like the Ultimate Warriors beat. It's unreal. Bro, it was absolutely unreal.
That's funny that you mentioned that. So I fought a guy. It was my only title fight I ever had in my career in MMA. His name was Jesse Day. His name was Jesse Dayrider down. It was in Lethbridge, but he was from the Blood Reserve down there. He's actually in a bad way now. Somebody came into his house and tried to kill him and shot him in the head, and now he's like he'll never walk or talk again. But so he's been in and out of a coma for years now.
Really?
But so he was the only title fight I ever had in my career. And we're in Lethbridge. There's, a whole bunch of reserves around there. And I went into so basically I was going into enemy territory, so my walk-up music comes on and I come on. And then he does the walk. And I mean, I'm pretty sure his entire reserve showed up to the Lethbridge arena that night. Like there's probably 5,000 people off his reserve. And Jesse's walkout music was like the drum beats and the chanting.
No way. Same type
that was,
thing.
remember we were talking about like when you're like trying to look a hole through a guy? I was fucking trying to find a hole to crawl into in the fucking cage that night. Like that was the only one of the very few times where somebody's build up intimidated me like but that's what it is. That's like the haka, like that's the haka, like the All Blacks do. They try, like they want to scare the shit out of the guys they play against. And like you said with Jordan Roach's music, man, like and Laffy won that fight too, didn't he?
Laffy won the fight, right? Yeah. But it was okay. So the reason why it was my fight of the night is because the characters were so big. The men were massive human beings. Like
you,
I mean, LaFrance is a professional bodybuilder. We all know that. But at the same time, we've never seen a professional bodybuilder in hockey equipment like we see with the Beast, right? It's incredible. Now, Roach, I didn't realize he was that big. You know what I mean? And he came in. Dude. Yeah, bro. And it was just every time, I mean, obviously Roach lost the fight. Every time he fell, he got right back up. He got into his stance. Right? He's got a great poster of that stance. Really? And I just thought it was just a great fight.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not disappointed I didn't see it because, like I said, I'd finish my fight and I would go right back to my locker room and you know, I'd throw a chew in my mouth and take my shit off and chill out, you know,
and lay there, right?
Lay there. I would lay on the floor. Me and Ames would lay there next to each other and talk.
Buddy, you should have seen your boy Parker after his fight with Amesbury. He was laid out for quite a while too, man. That's the best way to do it.
See, and that's the thing. Like Parksy, I love Parksy so much, and if he got into like the Derek Parker that you and I know shape,
yeah, oh yeah, like the 72 fight of the year Derek Parker for St. Hyacinth, you know,
probably the toughest human being I've ever met.
I know.
If he got back into that shape and focus, like there's no reason that Derek he would be the toughest guy that, you know, like I don't think Amesbury would be able to beat him. I don't think, you know, obviously I would love to compete against him. I never but like, well, you know, I don't have to, I'm having trouble articulating how tough Derek Parker of 10 years ago is than Derek Parker now. And he's still one of the toughest people on the planet. And he's out of shape.
The year that he had the
boys.
Yo.
Damon, are you signing
I got a split, but I just wanted to tell Sheriff before I split that I appreciate being on. And Schmit, I'll see you Saturday at the golf tournament.
Okay, sounds good, buddy.
Damon, Sheriff, thanks for you coming on too, bud.
Appreciate you both.
Love you. I'll call you later.
Sounds good.
Goodbye.
PoorBoy Studios, right, Schmitty?
That's PoorBoy Media.
PoorBoy Photography or PoorBoy Studios? Which one is it?
PoorBoy Media.
PoorBoy Media is the proper term, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Schmitty. PoorBoy Media is also going to be doing the documentary that we were talking about. That man, oh man, is there ever some good footage, Schmitty? And even the videos today, man, that is so good. What about the songs? What about your songs? Let's talk about the songs and the videos released today.
Oh, I don't know. That's all him, man.
No, but I think it was your walkout music.
Oh, like Drew Gregory. Like, right all out there. So, buddy of mine. Tell
the listeners why you chose that.
Why? So Drew Gregory and I just like he's from my hometown. He's a pretty good, you know, pretty well-known country singer.
Yeah.
And yeah, he you know wrote this song, Lay It All Out There. It's just about being a cowboy and, you know, laying it all out there, not regretting anything you've done. So when he was writing it, I was like, man, you know, I heard it and I was, he was down in Nashville recording and stuff because he's a pretty well-known songwriter.
Yeah, he's huge.
He's a well-known like country musician up here, but he's a very successful songwriter. And I was like, man, like, can I have this as my walkout song? Like, and he's like, man, yeah, absolutely. Like, if there's a song that was written, it was written for you. So I've had it for so many of my like boxing matches and MMA fights. And when that music comes on, man, I'm so familiar with it now. It just takes me right into that zone.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So now, okay, so Schmit, so now can you, like, I need people to see your video. So what's the best way for them to see it? Should they go on your social media? Should they go on PoorBoy? Like how like I'm not a social media like whiz at all. Like I'm not very handy with it. I almost need to have somebody managing my social media, especially at this point, given the attention I'm getting and stuff, because I'm not that handy at it. You know what I mean? Yeah,
so
I get it.
Schmit Fighter is my Instagram, and I think it's on there.
Okay, so Schmit Fighter on IG, on Instagram. If they go on your page, it's one of the latest posts that you put on?
Yeah, I think so. And then like my Facebook, I think it's on there as well.
Justin Schmit,
yeah. But like I said, I do need. So if anybody watches this and wants to manage my social media.
Okay, so the Bull needs someone to run his social media accounts. I'm lucky enough. I got Danny Granger Art running all the Sheriff Podcast accounts, right? Because I wouldn't even be able to run them all, right? I just run my personal. So Justin Schmit, the king of the rink, ladies and gentlemen, the man's looking for an admin for his social media. So where would they contact you if they want the job, Justin?
Yeah. Well, just on
they
my
DM you, direct message on social media.
Put my cell phone number on here.
Well, if your cell phone, if you use it for business, go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, I can't do that. I don't.
Yeah, let's do the DMs on the social media, because the king of the rink might get a lot of calls, man.
Get a hold of you, and they can,
Yeah, or if someone's interested, get a hold of me. Say, hey, I want the job for the Bull.
Yeah, like I said, because I do want to generate as much
promotion.
As much as I can, to build this product that I think we're all like. I mean, when you go in and like you sit, even the way like when we had breakfast the other morning, and there's AJ Galante, Saw, you, me, all these parts of this, moving parts of this thing. I think we're on something fucking cool, man. And like it's a family. It is 100%.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's a family company. I'm ecstatic to be a part of it, man. And like I said, as a fan, Schmitty, like I'm in my glory, bro. Like, even if I wasn't I have aspirations to be a sports broadcaster. So, I applied to be on the broadcast team and all that kind of stuff. But let's say I was like a lawyer or something, you know what I mean? I would just go as a fan, right? To watch this, because that's how much I like it. Like all that kind of camaraderie and,
and the personalities, and like I said, the biggest thing is the product. The product is a great night of fights. It's almost like the original UFCs.
Isn't it? It's pretty similar. And then I find that our characters are kind of similar to them too. You know what I mean? Because we're building up our characters of like our main guys, like you know what I mean? So it's like with Chuck Liddell and, and the guy, what was that? Tito Ortiz and like all the big names, like their characters were built up. And I find that the Bull, that Diamond Hands, that you guys are par, if not even bigger than that, man. That's my opinion.
100%,
Yeah, dude. So it's pretty exciting stuff, man.
It's so pure right now. Like I said, we're only 2 events in.
Yeah.
But like,
what's your prediction for Ice Wars 3? Where is this thing going to be, bro? Are they going to run it back at River Cree, or are these Tampa rumors pretty strong?
I I mean, obviously, I would love it to be in Tampa because, like, I live down south now.
Yeah.
Biloxi, Mississippi is a huge opportunity too. Tampa, Biloxi. I don't know how Vegas would go over because there's just so much shit in Vegas, you know.
Competition, yeah.
But like
Sure.
Biloxi or Tampa, and you know as well as I know how big hockey goes in the South, right? So you
playing at hockey.
Yeah.
They love it, man. That's how hockey grew in the South, man. They threw a couple tough guys at every team to get those people in the rinks.
Get asses in seats. Like we played in Biloxi this year, and every night there was 10,000 people in that arena in Biloxi.
Isn't it incredible? So you see it in the USA though, like Ice Wars 3. You seeing it definitely going south side of the border?
I do. I mean, but that's the thing. There's such a good production. I mean, everybody I've talked to said the pay-per-view is fucking out of this world, right? So I mean, I think it's gonna be a pay-per-view event, obviously, and then people that are gonna be like, holy fuck, I was there. I think it's gonna be smaller venues. I don't think they're gonna be able to put it on for the time being in huge venues.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
You know,
man.
But
Yeah.
right where it's going right now, I think like just, smaller minor league venues, like obviously not Tampa's arena, but smaller minor league venues, and just capitalize on those
pay-per-view.
Because I think yourself and AJ, like that, like I said, I haven't watched it yet, but everybody I've talked to that bought the pay-per-view has said it was fucking out of this world. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, if you like hockey, if you like boxing, if you like UFC, if you like bare knuckle fighting, if you like any of those things, you'll love Ice Wars, right? Like that's what I tell people, man. They're just like, what is that Ice Wars? What is it? And I'm like, I mean, it's prize fighting on ice. That's one way that AJ likes to explain it, and it's the newest combat sport, right? And it's the safest way. It's way safer than NHL fighting, by far. 100%, buddy. 100%. And like, bro, I'm trust me, like it's a really big deal to be named like the champ of a new sport. And that's what you earned, bro. And I wanted to congratulate you because I know that we haven't had a full conversation other than after the night of the fight. And yeah, dude, like it's just so okay. So I forgot what you said at the beginning of the show. So it has sunk in or it hasn't?
Yeah, it's sunk in. Like you said, I always thought it would, like, when you went, like I've never won like a title or I fought for titles, lost championship games, but I never won something where I was I won fights.
Including hockey teams?
Yeah, I never won a championship. I'm 38 years old. I've never won a championship. We lost in the finals last year in Watertown, New York. In our league we play a 62 game schedule, and then our playoffs.
62 games.
And then our playoffs.
I didn't know that.
Our playoffs.
A lot of games.
Our playoffs are best of 5.
Okay.
And the finals, because with the travel, because we're in Alabama, we're in Columbus, Georgia, and then we're in Watertown, New York, and they like, how the minor leagues are. Their rink was like booked up, so they had to get the series over with. So we had the final series was 3 games, like ridiculous.
3, you mean? Oh, they best 2 out of 3.
That's 2 out of 3 for
changed it because of the schedule.
Yeah, which is ridiculous, right? Because hockey's, it's still not
decide a finals in 3 games, bro.
They got a basketball arena football team coming in. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So yeah, we lost in triple overtime in game 3. So one game 1 down in Georgia, flew up to New York for 2 and 3. We're up 1-0 going into the third in game 2, and then ended up losing. Game 3 was 1-1, and I think it went triple overtime, and then they ended up beating us, and it was pretty fucking devastating. I was in the stands because obviously guys like me, guys like us don't get to dress for the final.
Yeah, we might be healthy scratched for the final game. But dude, so wow. I mean, the reason why I don't like it, Schmitty, is because we both know in a 7-game series, a team could win 3 straight and still lose the series.
Totally.
Right? Like we've seen that recently, especially with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But yeah, so that's not cool, dude. You guys should. That wasn't cool. That wasn't a fair shake for the finals. I'm sorry you had to do that, buddy.
Who knows though? Could have went either way. They were the front runners the whole season. Yeah, they had a great team too, and we play them. Our home opener, I think, is against them.
Oh, right on.
Which is pretty cool, and they have a monster. Obviously, I don't. Oh yeah, his name's Ryan Devine. I fought him once last year, and he was actually the only loss I had last season.
How big?
He was a tough motherfucker. He big, like 6'4", 250.
No way! Wow.
And we were getting pumped up there. This was like 9-1.
No way.
Yeah, up there in November. And
those games kind of suck, Schmitty, because it's like, you know what I mean? Everyone's expecting you to do something dirty or make something happen, run the goalie. And it's like, man, I'll fight them, but like, come on, man.
Yes, it sucks, right? And I fought earlier in the game.
Oh, you already fought?
I fought once earlier in the game. They had another tough guy. I fought him. And then I went into their bench in a line brawl.
No way. So there was a line brawl in this game?
Yeah, there was a line brawl in the game. And one
of the tough guys was chirping you from the bench?
Yeah, so I went into the bench after him, so I got a 10 or something. And sitting there, bunch of guys get kicked out, yank our goalie. It's 9-1. It's a 5-on-3 for them in the third. And they score a shorty, right? Like a 5-on-3 shorty, and I just lose my goddamn mind, right? And I'm like dropping people down left and right. This big fucking mutant comes out of nowhere, just at my head.
No way.
I haven't been able to fucking. So then we played them. That was the second game of that 2-2 up there, and then I was against them at the end of the season. They were in our division. So I didn't see them again. So I was always like, fuck, for one, I felt like I didn't give him a fair shot. He didn't give me a fair shot. I was a dirty motherfucker. And I was the one that went psychopath at the end of my shift, swinging my stick. Like, you deserve what you get, kid. So I always wanted like to have an honest.
How he came out again. Say how he came out again. Came out and what?
What?
When you were explaining like him coming out on the ice, man, what did he do to start when he came out?
Oh no, he was on the power play.
Oh, okay, so he came over and did what he did.
Yeah, no, he was on I went into the bench earlier in the game, and then we both had 10s.
Yeah,
and a bunch of people got kicked out, and then at the end of the game was a 5-on-3, and the game was over.
And they scored a shorthanded goal.
And then they scored a goal on the 5-on-3, and I lost my fucking marbles because I was like, fuck, we got to ride a fucking bus 48 hours back to Alabama, lost 10-1 or whatever, and like some kid from college that has never even had a half visor on, let alone and I just fucking I'm so fucking mad.
He's having nightmares every night still, bud. Of a guy named Schmit with a stick. No, don't do it to me. Please stop. Schmitty, that's hilarious, buddy. I love the fact that we threw that in there, man. But listen, so I, like I was saying before, you and Amesbury are the two king of the rinks, okay? You guys earned that. You're the face of the company. Now, what I'm most impressed about is how you carry yourself, what you represent, and how intriguingly interesting you are, because you're a man of many talents. Before we go, okay, I want to talk about a little bit about Tub Talk. Do you mind explaining to listeners and viewers about Tub Talk before we go?
So, well, like I haven't fired up Tub Talk because I told you were going to be my next I promised you that you were going to be my next. I wasn't going to talk about anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, the king of the Rink, the Cruiserweight king of the Rink, promised the sheriff that he was going to get an exclusive interview, the first one. So now all the other podcast people and people alike, now the floodgates can now open for the king of the Rink. Because
you had exclusive rights. But Tub Talk was just something I did. Like one day I was supposed to fight. I was fighting for MFC back in the day, and the promoter called me and was like, this is when this stuff was really starting to take off, you know? And the promoter, you gotta fucking crank up your ratings, you know, because you're a personality, like we like you, but you gotta learn how to do this. So I was having a cold tub after training before a boxing match or for an MMA fight. And I was like, fuck, why don't I go live with it? And just start talking. Yeah. And one thing led to another. And then they're like, man, Tub Talk's fucking hilarious. Like, this is the shit, you know? Like, and it's not always about hockey. It's always about fighting. I got political.
About anything, right? Anything that's on your mind.
Whatever's on my mind. It's like, sometimes it's like therapy for me, right? I can just, but so I hadn't did it for a while. And I got in a little trouble with some of the topics I talked about, but I was at a bull riding and I ran into my old wrestling coach, Russell Friend, who's also he's also the president of Bull Riders Canada. So we were having a beer together, and he's like, man, you got to bring fucking Tub Talk back. Like, I live for like man, I used to wake up at 5 a.m. because he's a cowboy, right? So he goes to bed early, gets up early. He's like, I'd get up an hour early just to see it, just to watch this while I'm drinking my coffee. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
part of his routine.
Yeah. So like, there's people that do like it, and it's funny. And I've had some offers to, you know, to sell it to different comedy networks and stuff, and try and take it. That's awesome. But right now, it's just fucking fun to me. It's just a good way to interact with my friends and fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, okay. So how can people find Tub Talk, and how can they?
I think just go on Facebook. That's the only way I know how to do it, is on Facebook Live.
Okay.
So just follow Justin C. Schmit on Facebook,
and they'll be able to find the Tub Talk.
Oh, so you don't see my junk or nothing like that.
There you go, man. Man, I gotta tell you, Schmitty, like I was telling my mom, I'm like, Mom, this guy is such a character. Like, this guy, like, he's a hockey player, but Mom, he's a bull rider. He's a bare knuckle fighter. I'm like, Mom, you should see this guy's tattoos. I'm like, Mom, this guy's like, and you know how I really explained it, Schmitty? I just said, because you know this too, like, because of how long you've played, your parents have met teammates of yours. Like, let's say there was like another tough guy on the team. Like, your parents have met guys all over the years. And the one thing about all these guys that we were mentioning is we're all a little bit different, bro. We're not like regular birds, okay? But then some of us take it to a next level, bro. And you're one of those guys. Oh, and I was telling her, man, I'm like, Mom, you got to see this guy, man. And then I told her about Tub Talk, and that was like the cherry on top. You know what I mean? I go, Mom, this guy has a show where he's literally like, he's in his tub, but it's like a cold tub. Or sometimes I think he even has bubbles, man. I've seen one with bubbles. And I'm like, Mom, I watched it. It's so entertaining. Like, it's incredible. So I gotta give the credit. I wanted to talk about it a little bit because I want the fans and viewers to all check it out, man. It's really cool. Justin C. Schmit on Facebook, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so awesome, buddy. Schmitty, like, honestly, today's been a blast. I think I went over double the time of what I told you, so I apologize, bro.
We should do. We should. We need.
You want to do a weekly show, Schmitty, or what, buddy? We'll call it Tub/Sheriff Talk.
Totally, man. We just need to have like a debriefing session sometimes. I think where you and I are just gonna have to call each other like once a week and just talk.
Yeah, no, 100%. But like, I also kind of, you know, another idea I had, Schmitty, that just kind of popped up, because I mean, this Zoom thing makes it very simple, right? To like see how, you know, we're there with Damen and stuff. Like, I think that ICEWARS should do like like a weekly show where we have all the fighters on. Guys can talk about their training weeks, you know, shoot the shit. I would love to host it. You know what I mean? And like, would you be down for something like that? You're the king of the ring, cruiserweight.
Like fighters, and even like I said, we're all
like
big
AJ, Lindsay,
shit to each other. Like, we could have some fun with it.
Iman Levy. Yeah, bro.
That would
right? You'll have a translator for the beast.
Totally. Even bringing like the wives and girlfriends and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because they're a huge part of it too, right? Like Simon's wife.
Huge. Like, look at Corey Allen, man. No, but look it out. Corey Allen, this guy, redemption fight, wins this fight, and then 2 days later gets on one knee in Banff, Alberta, bro.
Yeah, that was
week for him. Two wins in 1 week.
Yeah, I never met him before. And then, like, I met him.
Get a chance to spend some time with Corey?
I got a huge chance to connect with him. So, what a rad guy, hey? Like, just
really cool dude, man.
He's a really nice guy. Yeah, he
didn't do well in the first one, bro. He really redeemed himself.
Oh, really?
Chase Tippin got him pretty good, and you'll hear Corey say that. Like, he says that he got destroyed by Chase. He was not happy with it. But he trained with Aaron Downey and he worked hard.
He just joined a long fucking list of people that have been destroyed by Chase Tippin. So it's not.
Yeah. So yeah, and him and Chase had a fight this past season, a couple fights where Corey won it and got Chase really good. But then Chase just prepared better for Ice Wars 1 and just got him really good, dude. But yeah, man, I'm even, bro, see what I'm doing, Schmitty? I'm even extending the show after the closing. But anyway, dude, that's what I do with my buddies. I like to talk to them. I appreciate you. I consider you one of my newest friends, bro. And I feel honored, like I said, to be a part of that journey in Enoch, Alberta. I was honored, bro, to be a part of that and watching you get that crown, being crowned king of the rink, bro. So
just to have you a part of it, like you said, you're one of my heroes growing up. You know what I mean? Like,
I really appreciate that, dude.
You were one of the top guys on my list. You know?
Yeah, man. Well, you know what, bro? Hats off to you for saying that, because it's always good to be appreciated and wanted. So to hear that from you, bro, like, I really appreciate that. But what we're gonna do now is I know I'm gonna get a lot of requests after this. When are you gonna have this guy back on? When are we gonna talk some bull riding? When is all this stuff gonna happen? And I'll tell them it's gonna happen soon, Schmitty, as long as you're cool with that.
Yeah, man. I'm heading. I'm kind of back in rodeo mode right now, you know. So I got a PBR deal on Friday up here in Canada. Yeah. And then I'm in Eureka, Montana the next weekend, and then I think I'm just gonna buy a van in Eureka, Montana, like and live out of my van for the rest of the summer. And I got to head down to California to a bull riding the next weekend. And I got to go back to the rodeo cowboy lifestyle for a little bit and just.
But you're excited and content with that, right?
Oh man, to live all these different lives, I'm pretty fortunate. You know what I mean? Like, I get to be a notorious hockey player for a long, part of the year, and have all my teammates around me, and then with Ice Wars and all the attention that's got. But then when I can go right back to my roots and just be a rodeo cowboy and just the
bull.
Totally, and just fly by the seat of my pants, and just live out of a suitcase. That's probably where I find my most clarity. Just I go into towns where nobody knows me, because everybody up here knows me. I can't go to a supermarket or to a mall without somebody recognizing me. Right? With all the attention, and even during the hockey season, everywhere I go, everybody knows me, and I go into these small towns to rodeo. I'm just another cowboy, and I get to kind of step outside it and go back to where I belong,
Right on, bro. Hey, man, thank you for sharing that. That's super, super, super cool, bro. So I really appreciate that. I couldn't find a better way to end it than that, bro. So hey, man, that's the mic drop right there, buddy. And I appreciate that. So I want to thank the fans and the listeners for tuning in to another episode of The Sheriff featuring the special guest, Cruiserweight King of the Rink, Dustin Schmit, the Bull. Anyway, Schmitty, I appreciate it, bud. So thank you once again. And we're going to sign off here, guys.
Like I said, let's talk a little more
on the whole.
Yeah, just not today, but just as our week progresses, because I miss you and I like talking to you.
You're a good dude, bro. Thank you very much. And we're going to sign off here, guys. Woo!